That's us. Happy Saturday, everybody. Happy Saturday, Angel.
Happy Saturday. Yes, absolutely.
Happy Saturday.
I ran here less than 30 seconds ago, but I'm here.
You did. Angel's here. He just hopped in the door to this room. The room called YouTube.
Like crazy. I came in
he's
like
arrived.
Busted.
He has arrived. Next week we get to see Angel in real life at Pac Northwest.
Yeah.
So if you're local here in Washington or Oregon or even out in Idaho, please come see us. Come say hello. We'll be right next to each other, wreaking havoc and having lots of fun.
Mm-hmm.
That's where we'll be. In other news, let's see. Hold on, I'm clicking buttons. Shedtesting.com. Get your sheds tested.
For all your shed testing needs, just send them to Charlie.
But you actually have to send them. You can't be like us and just have them in plastic bags waiting to send them. We've paid for them. We also need to send them.
We put the pro back in procrastination.
Yes. Speaking of pro, there's also Husbandry Pro. Do not procrastinate on that. If you like to use paper and pencil, that's okay. But if you get to the point where you're ready, Angel, we will help you at any given moment figure out how to get it set up. You can also use the code Rainbow60 to get 60 free days. Also, Angel and Lace, both of you. There's this little gnat flying around. Anyway. Oh, also Kurt's repping Carhartt today. He's not sponsored by them, but he has a Carhartt shirt on. And I have on my double clutch Patreon sweatshirt, which is very cozy and warm on this 37-degree day, which was much colder.
I'm just wearing my Captain America.
I know. Someday we'll get you merch. That's a mission in my life, to get you shirts of some sort. I know we can't pry that hat off of your head. So
if I get, that's never gonna happen. But if I had, like, I have a couple. I don't reach out. I don't know if people send them to me, I'll wear them. I don't have a problem with that. I just don't have that many.
What size shirt do you wear, Angel?
Schmedium.
I am not a schmedium. I am
Don't send it.
Large, extra large.
There you go.
But not a schmedium.
For those listening,
listen, you want
Angel
send me
needs
medium,
merch, please.
I'll put it on, but it's not gonna look
belly shirt.
You know?
Whatever you do not send him a hat. That one is glued to his head.
I don't come. I sleep with it.
He sleeps with it on. But shirts, he's a t-shirt guy more than a sweatshirt guy.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Large, extra large. Please help Angel. He would like some merch.
It's free advertising, you know. I wear it. I would totally wear them. I got a Morphord shirt. I keep forgetting. I got to wear that one too. But anyway.
So he's repping Morphorge in the closet right now. It's hiding.
I don't
somewhere
even wear my own shirt. Like, I barely wear that thing. You know.
Okay, we were having a lot of fun there. That was a lot of fun.
I'll stop. We got somebody with me.
We have the wonderful Marcus, half of Damballah Exotics. The other half is running around doing all sorts of mom things. But we get to have Marcus here and get to find out more about them and what makes them Damballah. Welcome, Marcus.
How's everybody doing? Happy Saturday to everybody.
Hey.
Kurt and Nikki, thank you very much for having me on. I appreciate it. Angel, I appreciate you being here too, Bo.
Nice to meet you. I try to get on early and talk, but lately it's been rough. I mean, I just kind of just make it lately.
Yep, sometimes that's all we can do. Work can definitely consume us a lot, and so understandable. But very much appreciated for all of you guys to be here, and appreciate you bringing me in the circle.
Absolutely. Nice circle reference there, Marcus.
Very much appreciated. So we just started out last year getting real into ball pythons. We've had a couple over the years, but didn't really have any plans to breed. And then we hit a couple shows and saw a couple things and kind of sparked our interest a little deeper. So we figured the right thing to do was learn. So last year we got into it, the shows I'm talking about would have been the year before. We went to some shows. We had, 4 or 5 small animals, but didn't have plans. And so then we started researching, reading, YouTubing, checking out a lot of what everybody else was doing out there, and just absorbing a lot of really good information. When it comes to husbandry, when it comes to genetics, when it comes to what works and what doesn't. And those there's always opinions. Everybody has one, but if you can just take in the broad spectrum of information and see what works, and then the Patreons are obviously a great way. Everybody knows to get in with some really knowledgeable people, and learn some things, and really a great way to avoid some of the missteps that a lot of people take if they want to take this thing to the next level. If you avoid some of the bigger missteps when you start up, then you don't have to worry about, okay, now I've got 50 animals I need to sell off because they don't work for anything, or they don't work into a project, or, I've got too many genetics and not enough focus. Um, but that's one of the wonderful things I think about this hobby is there's so much information to consume. If you're like me and you like consuming information, this rabbit hole will take you down a path you can continue for a long time, because there's a lot of scientific data out there on the natural husbandry, what survival rates in the wild are versus how we do things in captivity. All this information is out there, and scientific studies have been done, and you can consume that information and grow more knowledgeable on the subject. And I think that's the best way to advance in this hobby, because you're not going to have those mishaps and those misfortunes. Obviously, there is some that come along with breeding. We all accept that if we're going to breed animals. It happens naturally in the wild, like I said, as well. So, but part of that is learning how to deal with those type of things, and the best practices, the best keeping, the best husbandry, so we can avoid as much of that as possible. And also the genetics, avoiding what genetics to put together that don't go together because somebody else has already figured out that information. So we avoid that and don't make those missteps as a group and as a whole. But if you need more individualized information, more specific information, like with my YouTube and coming on these podcasts, I want to absorb more information about that, and better lighting and better sound and better quality. So I joined Craig's AV Club because, Craig's a genius when it comes to audio visual. We were talking in his group the other day about, the things they were doing back in the day, and some of the guys that record music in there. And it's just really interesting to hear the way some things used to be done and the way things can be done now. And you get quality information about quality products and people who have already had that trial and error, so that you don't have to have that trial and error. So.
Probably one of Craig's greatest skills that he has is his ability, his ear. Like he can tune you and hear everything that needs to be adjusted and tell you exactly how far to turn that knob. And it probably comes with years of experience, but man, that's for me to see, that's incredible.
Yeah, I think it's awesome. And I think, just having the ability to be part of those groups and absorb some of that information is just, it's amazing for the community as a whole, So, I would definitely encourage everybody that is not joined up in some Patreons, if they're wanting to learn more, join them. Like, you don't have to be a newbie. You can be a seasoned person and learn better ways or better practices, or of keeping or whatever, So I'm a 20-year electrician at this point, and I taught fourth year at the electrical apprenticeship program for about 5 years, and I told all the students that I taught the number one thing about being an electrician is you have to be willing to be open and learn all the time, because it's a ever evolving industry, and I think this industry relates because genetics are always coming into play. It's always evolving which way the market is or isn't going. Not necessarily that you have to follow the market, but it's good knowledge to have if you're going to be selling things in any market, to have an idea of what the market's doing. So
Yeah. So I wanted to go back and ask you something. When you were talking, you had said you uh, you wanted to learn more and get all this information. And when you're getting into this, obviously it can be overwhelming, and then you start getting into genes, genetics, and you're looking at all these different things, and you go from husbandry into the breeding, and a lot of times people get really into that, and it's cool, because it is cool. We all do this stuff. But you said something that I find really interesting, is you kind of went beyond that, because we have an established, in a way, we have a very established community and or industry, where like there are these kind of, not, I wouldn't call them standards, but these guidelines that say that of how a good way to do it, and then we just kind of finagle these things the way we go through. But you said something interesting by talking about, you looked into where these animals come from. You're taking a bit of a step that a lot of other people don't bother to do, because a lot of this is already done, the breeding stuff. People stop at that. They kind of stay there. They got that information. They're not really interested in going beyond that. And it's interesting to me, because 25 years ago, we didn't have all this information. We were going back to where these animals came from, because I didn't understand when was breeding season. Is it during the wet season, the dry season? Like, there's all these things. Is it every year? Is it every other year for any specific reason? In captivity, animals obviously do things differently, and we have to sort of mimic things until we really get the gist of it and figure it out. And you went beyond that, and I like that, and I find that when we do that, even to this day, we think we know everything. We do find out more things. We do find out different things. And if you've seen the Dave Kaufman ball python, thing that he did, if you just look at what he saw out there, regardless of anything else that you saw in the video here and there, if you just look at the information of where these animals are, how they're wrapped up, how they're grouped together, how the females aren't these giant, enormous, heavy girls that are,
right.
There's a lot of information there, and I have been trying to find this, but there is an old video from I remember seeing it back in the 90s of people, field collecting. I can't find this video. And it was basically the same thing. They were picking up these females, and they weren't these giant animals. They were slender, and they had like 8 eggs around them, And the people were saying things kind of similarly to what they were saying in this video as well,
Right.
So I appreciate you kind of going the extra mile, because I think it's important. I think a lot more of us should do that.
It really is. It really is important to go that extra mile and go down the rabbit hole of information. And information is not fact unless it's a scientific study fact. You can absorb all the information from people you want, and it can be people that have been doing something for 20, 30 years. Just because you've been doing something for 20 or 30 years doesn't mean you've been doing it the right way. And that's not anything negative towards anybody. I don't want to throw no shade at all, but you can take opinions or take opinions as fact, rather than actually read down all the way down the rabbit hole as fact. I think it's easier, and it's inherent of us as human beings, right? All of us, to just take information that somebody else gives us as fact, instead of, okay, because so-and-so knows what they're saying and they've been doing it, I'm going to take that and I'm going to do it. Well,
especially
sometimes,
if you see some sort of success.
right. Just because, you have a little bit of success because they had a little bit of success, it doesn't mean you can't be having more success. Your animal can't be happier, healthier, in many different types of ways. One thing we got to remember about doing this in general, and it's one of the things I talked to about TIFF extensively, is the welfare of the animals and the care for the animals, the stress that the breeding puts onto the animals, because you read those studies, like you said, those wild ball pythons aren't 3,500 grams. You know what I mean? They're not that big. And then they're also, might be 4 or 5 or 6 or 7 years old before they breed for the first time. In many cases with wild
Or
ball
even the
pythons.
opposite. The female may be just over 2 years old.
What's that?
And then there's the opposite too. The female could be just about 2 years old.
Absolutely.
And still not even nowhere near weight, but for some reason.
But for some reason she goes.
Up,
Yeah,
and that's just how it is.
Yeah, and exactly, it goes both sides of the spectrum. So there's going to be ebbs and flows with everything, and you just got to try to take as much good information as you can and sort through the information, fact check the information, double fact check that information with a scientific study, and then you might be all right.
And I think that's what, especially over the years, because seeing where the industry, let's just say like industry as far as reptiles and so on, if you look at, I'm a big history buff as far as like everything goes, but when it comes to like the history of this industry, you can say it was like the 70s to the 80s when things started really like ramping up. You're looking at Bob Clark, getting stuff in, and then, so on and so forth. A lot of these things are happening, and a lot of things change. We're getting different animals, different morphs. Things are getting more popular, less popular. And if you're not paying attention, like it's gonna go by. All that stuff's gonna go by, and you got to pay attention. There's a lot to kind of take in. And I've seen so much growth. I mean, we went from fish tanks to racks. I wouldn't be in this industry still if I wasn't still learning. Every day we need to learn, but with that, teach people. Ask questions. You just get, talk to them. And if you're not 100% sure, just say that. Just
right.
Just say, I don't really know.
Say I'm not sure. That's
sure.
Impossible for a lot of people, Angel. A lot of people struggle with that one.
If I sell an animal and I'm really not sure about the genetics, I can't say like it's in there if I'm not 100% sure, but I'll be like, there's a possibility there's yellow belly or orange dream or something in there. And if you get that, great. Because that also helps me to say like, oh, that really was. Okay, then it helps me identify later on. Or if they're like, no, that wasn't in there, then I'm like, okay, then I have no idea why this animal looks the way it does. But, we'll find out.
Yeah, honesty is always the best policy. Definitely being upfront. If you're going to have customers and you want to retain customers, unless you're trying to sell somebody a one and done, which there's people out here doing it, but to each their own. Those people get weeded out eventually, and so, and then you find other people in the community that are honest and trustworthy, and if so, you go with those people. It's definitely a live and learn situation sometimes in the early beginnings of ball python world, but
absolutely,
like I said, that's the best part's getting into the groups early, and then that way you can avoid a lot of that, and then like you said, Angel, just information that you've learned, share it, put it out there in the community for the rest of the people to have, and I think that should be the best policy, And
it's not. I think sometimes people I think some people might get labeled as being shifty, but they kind of just didn't know. They didn't know how to ID the animal. They were confident, but maybe they then later on they were like, oh my God, I really didn't have XYZ, and now this person's complaining about it because it's been a year and a half they bred the animal and they came back to it and they're like, oh, and that's just something that happens too. Even the most like experienced breeders will tell you, they're like, I sold this animal, I could have swore it had, vanilla in it. I could have swore it had XYZ in it. And because everything else in this clutch looked like this in this one animal, and it
Right.
turns out that wasn't it. This
Hmm.
that particular animal just happened to look amazing for whatever reason, but didn't carry those genes. And it
Yeah.
happens. But I think too on the other end, because it's happened to me recently, where I have to be understanding and saying like, all right, they thought, because I bought something from somebody who was definitely known, and it turned out I had a
Right.
little extra in there that I didn't want, but it's okay. Now I know. But now I know, and I talked to them, and we had a conversation about it, and I wasn't upset about it. As far as they did me wrong, he wasn't sure, and now he knows because it was also new to him at the time too. So I can't be upset.
Yeah, and a lot of them will tell you, it is my best guess of an ID of what it is. So I think a lot of that we have to go into the purchasing, understanding that as well. Especially when you're talking about 4, 5, 6 gene animals, and not being 100% shed tested. You gotta expect some discrepancy there. Even the best, like you said, can
I mean,
only
it's
do so much
theoretical.
with their eyes. Yeah.
It's theoretical. Ozzy said it best. He was like, "We are only doing theoretical IDs. These are theoretical IDs. We're doing our best to ID, especially if you got 3, 4, 5, 6 different genes in there. Like
Yeah.
sometimes you can't tell."
Yeah.
Yeah, right now it's mostly you see it in ads for the het recessives, and it's verified by shed testing on a lot of ads. A lot of people are doing that now,
Yeah.
and I imagine as we progress and it becomes more mainstream and everybody's doing it, it'll start getting into the codoms.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would think so. I would think so as well, especially if you're talking about, the money it takes for a Pompeii or something like that. Like, people are going to want that animal guaranteed that it has everything that it has, not just because you say it does. But I mean, obviously that one's a little, you can visually ID that, but something that expensive with that many genes,
But there's
would
also the
definitely be
time.
a huge letdown to not be
You
what
know,
it was supposed to be.
you put 2 years into raising this animal, 3 years into raising this animal for it to not have what
Right.
you thought or you paid for, or you. I hate to say you were promised, but like it's what you paid for. I paid for
Yeah,
4 genes, but this thing's only got 3, and we were
or
confident.
two.
It's been 3. Oh yeah, it's been 3 years. I finally, or let's say it was a pain in the neck, and it took you 4 years to get going. Like whatever it is, then you get to that final point, and you're like, all this time is wasted, and it happens. These things happen. These things happen.
Yep, for sure. I think this
Thinking about,
next season
sorry.
or two, we're going to focus on just making stuff to keep. We don't really want to make a lot to sell right now. We're just planning on making a lot to keep and working down our own avenue. Trying to carve out a niche because, uh, and that's one of the great things about this market, just ball python market specifically, is there's 200 plus genes out there right now. Thousands and thousands of people probably working on dinker projects right now. It's going to continue to grow and transform, and double and triple visuals will
Hmm.
be the same price as bananas at some point, just like bananas used to be $20,000. And then we'll have new genes and people will be doing new things. But there's so many genes out there now with the 200 plus that there's no way that somebody has made everything that could be made, or
Mm-mm.
seen what has happened between this gene and that gene interaction. There's all kinds of new gene interactions out there to find and for somebody to do and make their own project with. So I think that's one of the best things about ball pythons. Some of the other snake species are a little more limited in what they can do and what they have, which that'll change for them too as well.
Yeah,
But
there's always something that will pop up, whether it's in a collection or found in the wild or however, but and how it's going to add to the collection. But on top of that too, I'm a big, fan of quality because maybe we don't find any more genes, we don't necessarily have to, but if we can really work the ones we have to make the nicest versions of the ones that we currently have, and
Right.
also the nicest combos of it, like if you just don't buy an animal just for genes, and you buy an animal because it's like you buying, with your eyes, I think that's really helpful, especially if you're very goal oriented, and or if you really want to be known for a specific gene. Like if I'm going to be known for, I have vanilla, I have tons of vanilla. If I'm going to be known for vanilla, I want to have the nicest vanillas, and then I
Better be
want
the
to
better be the
make
best
nice.
damn vanilla out there.
So and then I need people to see it and be like, hey, I know who made that, you know,
Right.
or whatever it is that somebody's working with. Find those genes and like really make them nice. Don't just buy a whole bunch of that gene and say, oh, I got a bunch of Enchi, I got a bunch of this, and I just have a whole
Yeah.
lot of it. But are you doing something really good with it? Like, are you actually working this gene?
Yeah. Working a line with it, improving it, making the next set better than the last set. Yeah, exactly. Um, I think you have to be doing that if you're going to survive long term as a breeder you want to be somebody that does that because you want to be you have to have quality. If you don't have quality, then you're not gonna. I mean, I guess you could sell auction a bunch of snakes all the time for $50 or $25, but that to me that's more hassle than it is worth. That's not what we got into this for. I don't. I've got a full-time job doing something else that pays my bills. Like this isn't because I want to work another 40 hours a week to sell. Hustle my way around to every local show and sell every 20 to $100 snake I can. That's it's just not in the cards with as much as we have going on. You know, uh, 7 kids running around, her doing the thing with the kids. There's always something. My job, her job. So we wanted to, keep it kind of small, which kind of small turned into a little bigger than small. I mean, we're still small. I mean, I think we're sitting at like 60 animals, and 60 animals is nowhere near big. You know what I mean? But it is a significant amount of
But when you
animals to care
started, though,
for.
right? When you
Huh?
started, but when you started, right? If someone said, "Oh, I have 60 snakes," you'd be like, "Oh my God, that's a lot of snakes."
Right.
Like
Right.
in the beginning,
Yeah.
we're always
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
"Oh man, 60
Saying it now,
animals,
well,
holy
yeah, you
snakes,"
say that to anybody not in the snake community, and they're like, you get that
Like me,
sideways
and the
look from
brain
the
just
lady
starts.
at
They
the
think they're
bank.
running around the
She's like,
house.
man, this cat's nuts. Like he's got 60 snakes at his house.
And maybe they
But
are. I don't
yeah,
know.
no, yeah, the rest of the world thinks we're all a little weird, I think, but that's okay. All the best people are, right?
Yeah, I mean, everybody's into people like hairless cats. I don't know, it's not my thing, but
Yeah,
still,
exactly. Not
it's
my thing.
fine.
Not my thing
I
at
think they're
all.
cool. I think they're
Uh,
cool, but like, I've been around plenty of them in the
Maybe
veterinary
a
field.
Bengal. I'll take a Bengal.
Bengals cool.
Those things are beautiful.
Those are cool.
I was going to say, you
There's
can't
actually
bash
a
on Mr.
lady.
Bigglesworth.
What's that?
You can't bash on Mr. Bigglesworth. That's a cool cat.
Yeah, right. There's actually a lady here in Kentucky that breeds and sells the Bengal cats, and I did some electrical work for her, and it was pretty cool to see some of the animals she had that I probably wouldn't have, but they're gorgeous. But those things are very high maintenance, very high maintenance. Lots of activities, lots of playing, lots of running, lots of exercise, because they're pretty much half wild cat. So they have to have that stimulation and that exercise. They can't just lay around like what we've done to normal domesticated cats these days. Garfield it up.
Yeah. Yeah, I saw a lot of cool stuff working veterinary. I saw lots of cool stuff like that. But that's the thing. Everybody again is into their own thing. Again, we have snakes. Some people are into geckos. Some people and the cool thing is that a lot of us that have a lot of this shit, we have a lot of the other stuff too.
Right, right. We have some Cresties because we saw one, and Tiff said it was her spirit animal because it was hanging upside down from one foot on a piece of glass, and we ended up buying the Cresty and ended up, with another Cresty and another Cresty and another Cresty. So
And
we'll
they're
probably
easy to
be
keep,
working some of those in
you
the
know?
future.
They're great. They're easy to keep.
Yeah, they're great. She loves them, easy to keep, and they're cute little animals for sure. I'm
Speaking of
eyeballing
things,
personally a olive python or maybe a pair of olive pythons, but that's one I'm gonna have to talk the wife into.
oh, I was going to say, speaking of things you're into, what is like your number one project that you guys have decided to work?
True ghost pod.
True Ghost Pipe.
Yeah. So
You
that's going
can't
to be
go
our
wrong
number
with that.
one. Number one, try to make some true ghost pods that's on our recessive end of what we want to do. We have some other codoms that we're wanting to, as Angel was saying earlier, improve upon and make better and breed a couple generations of that we want to work with, and then work into some other recessive projects as well. But our first main one will be the True Ghost Pod project, and then we'll be working some codoms into other things, like clown and puzzle.
Yeah, I'm gonna be following for that. I'm a big True Ghost fan.
Yeah,
I
me
think they're
too.
great.
I saw. I don't remember if it was Atlanta. Yeah, it was Atlanta. Holker's Herps
Mhm.
was there, and he had some really nice examples of some true ghosts that he made there at the first Atlanta show, which was amazing. And hopefully everybody will be at the second one because that's going to be a blast. So
What line of Azantic are you working with though?
VPI.
Okay.
Yeah, a VPI only because I didn't want to limit my customer base. Uh, I know MJ, they say, is GCR is like the best of the best, but you also, I think, when you buy into some of those, you also limit your customer base and your sales point because you only have a few other people that are gonna be interested in what you're working with. So.
I honestly though, like I've seen VPIs that just blow me away. They're just incredible. I've seen some incredible ones, and I just think that has to do with line breeding and selective breeding and so on as well. Um,
I think
and
so.
I just it's an older, Azantic gene. I mean, a lot of these have been around for a while, but I think some of those that have been in some collections for a while and they've been refining them, they look amazing. They're incredible.
Yeah, and I think the line breeding goes a long way. I think there's good and bad examples of every gene, right? You can take a VPI and put next to another VPI, and you'll think you're looking at a VPI, and you'll think you're looking at a normal,
Mhm.
one that's grown out. But there also, like you said, there's people out there that have worked those projects enough to have good quality animals out there to pick up, so that you can make sure you start off with quality so that when you're reproducing, you're also reproducing quality. And I think that's the main way to go about it because it's easy to get caught up in an auction on whatever site it might be on, and be like, oh, did you see this that went for next to nothing? Well, why did it go for next to nothing? You know what I mean? Because you can't really compare apples to apples sometimes in the ball
Mhm.
python world because there are different expressions of the same gene. So that's definitely something to keep your eye open, pay attention to. And when you buy, like Angel said a while ago, buy with your eyes, buy quality so you can reproduce quality. And then, there are going to be genes like some of the codoms we want to work with where you're not just going to jump in and buy quality because nobody's line bred it yet. So take it, run with it, do a couple seasons, couple clutches, have a couple holdbacks, and see if you can make something really cool with a gene that nobody else wanted to really work with too much. So, and then have fun doing it because if you're not having fun doing it and you're not passionate about it, then If you're just doing it to crank out snakes and make money, you're doing it for all the wrong reasons anyway.
I'll be
Definitely
right
that.
back. I'm sorry. I'll be right back.
Yeah.
Need a little technical difficulty thing for Angel in the corner.
Yeah. No, we've been part of that, selecting the wrong animals. We've made the mistakes, buying with what you feel is a good deal. And some of the stuff we picked up, we found out the hard way that people thought they saw markers. We paired it. We got clutches. The het wasn't there. It just wasn't.
Mm-hmm.
So we've been burned that way. But that's one of the things where we believe in shed testing. If you have that POS het and you're going to put that, if it's on a male and you plan to put that male out, just make sure you test it so you know what you're going to get.
I told my kids, I was talking to them about it earlier today, about the shed testing and just what an amazing thing it is for the hobby, and how just inundated that Charlie and RGI, both of them, must be with, because everybody is going to use it. Everybody's going to need it. Everybody's going to want it because it's going to save everybody money to spend that money up front, because you're not going to feed animals for 3 years that don't prove out, and that's, I think, us getting in, like, at the time that we've got in, like, we're not even going to understand how important that is. Like, it's blowing my mind, and I never had to deal with proving anything out, like, I wouldn't be surprised if 2 or 3 more shed testing companies in the next 10 years pop up, because
Yeah, why not?
there's so many people that are going to put that to their advantage. I mean, I know reptile keepers are just 1% of the U.S. population, but 1% of the population is 4.5 million people. That's 4.5 million reptiles, like at least one reptile in their home. 4.5 million people. That's a pretty big customer base.
And we all know it ain't just one.
Yeah, I was
And
just
no,
gonna
it ain't
say.
ever just one. Well, because those
It's one
people,
full
we
rack.
were those
Sure,
people
it's
who just had one at one point.
I think I had one for like a couple of days.
Right.
That's about it. That's all it lasted.
Yeah.
I think we made it a month or two.
Had one. I had one until I picked up a second one at the same place.
There you go. What was it though? What was the first one? What was the first one that you got?
So our first one is ball python, normal.
Okay.
Still got
You
it. Yeah.
still got it? Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. The 17-year-old, she wanted chameleons, so she's got a couple chameleons in her room. She loves them.
Okay.
They're her thing. They're not my thing. I told her, if you want them, we'll get them, but you're gonna be the responsible one. You're gonna take care of them. So I think that's another great thing reptiles can do, is help your children down that path of learning some responsibility and some taking care of some things. Because we know how much work reptiles are. They don't know how much work reptiles are until they want to put one in their bedroom, and you make them take care of it. And
honestly, I think it's better than a dog or cat, just because if they do sort like, oh, I forgot to give them water today, or this, like, it's not the end of the world. It's okay. You get a little, you get a lot of breathing room depending on, and some are, I think, are really good. Like, because some kids, that's the thing I used to tell people too back in the day. I'm like, I think reptiles are great because some kids have allergies. I had allergies growing up. So, you got kids with allergies. They're great for, like, if you're a student in a dorm and you need something small or you want to hide it, you can totally put, you can have a leopard gecko, you can have a ball python, and I think certain things, depending on the kid, because some kids, are more interactive than others. Some kids just like to chill. I think a ball python's great. Some kids like a little more activity. Get a bearded dragon or a Uromastic. They're fun. So I think there's something out there for everybody, and especially for kids. And it's good responsibility. My son, he's 7. He wants something. He's not sure, but he's been walking around with this reptile book for like 2 weeks now. He hasn't said anything yet, but just
Right.
showing me facts like out of
I've
nowhere.
got a 5-year-old. He just turned 5 on the 13th. So he doesn't want anything specific yet because he's got everything he could ever want to look at as it is, uh, with a big saltwater aquarium in the living room, and everybody else has their own animals. So he gets to enjoy it right now. But I'm sure as he grows and he gets a little older and a little more responsible, he'll probably want something too, And yeah, it's never too early to start them down that path, of teaching them, like you said, just simple things like remembering to water. I forgot that. Like you said, it's not the end of the world for the animal, but it's helping the child develop repetition and consistency and taking care of stuff. So.
Angel, is he thinking about buying something at the expo next weekend or not yet?
No, he's just been like, I don't know if he really wants something, but he's just been, he he's got one of those big reptile books where it's just like facts, and like, not for nothing, a lot of them are wrong. So he's always like, well, what I'll show you the book. The ball python in there looks like, I don't know what it is. It looks, it's like 90 feet long, this fucking thing in a tree. And I'm like, that is not a ball python. I gotta talk, like, what real ones look like. So, but he's just been talking about like snakes and rattlesnakes and tortoises. And this, out of nowhere, the book is always in the room, on the floor, on the bed. It's just always there. And he's just been talking about them lately. So I'm like, okay, he's asked questions. I answer them. I show him a couple of videos and pictures of stuff. He was talking about gaboon vipers the other day. And I'm like, all right, let's do it. We're just talking. That's it. We're just talking about stuff. I don't know if he wants something right now, but it's come up a couple times. I think he's just interested. So I just, I feed it to him. Like, what else do you want to know?
And that's how I was when I was a kid too, man. I was always the kid that was interested in science, biology, animals, anything that had to do with animals. Like, of course, back when I was growing up, not real old, but we didn't have the things kids have, screens to be stuck to nowadays, tablets, video games. Video games were in their infancy back then, some 8-bit stuff, but I still got a original Nintendo with Mario in it.
There you go.
But yeah, we spent a lot more time outside doing things, flipping over logs and rocks and enjoying the things that nature had to offer, salamanders and I caught my first wild hognose snake down here when I was probably 7 or 8, running across a football field. It was a snake, and I ran at it and I caught it because that's what I did when I was a kid, But get out there and enjoy all the things that life has to offer, and I'm enjoying some of that stuff now with my kids. Taking them out to the places we have around here. We have lots of nice places, trails to hike and parks and creeks, and it's Kentucky, so there's always hills and creeks. And take them out, flip over rocks, find things, do that type of stuff, and you can make forever memories with your kids and enjoy that together. And it also instills in them a love of nature and a love of animals, which is going to help develop them into compassionate people.
And depending on the area that you're in, if you have access to, to like any open spaces like that, that you can go to, parks or anything like that, anything. If you have access to that, just go. It's not everybody does, but if you do, definitely. Like sometimes I could go in the yard. I tell them pick up a stick, go dig a hole. Just go dig a hole.
Facts. You know how many times I've told my kids to go dig a hole and fill it back in? I'm bored. Okay, go dig a hole, fill it back in.
And at first he was like, why? And I'm like, because you might find something. Then all of a sudden he was like, oh yeah, wow. And then boom, he was just digging a hole.
Right.
And then, but it's fine. It's fine. Like, you get dirty, go get dirty. It's okay. Go get dirty. You can go inside and wash up anyway. It's fine.
Yeah, for sure. And it's so inspirational to have them out there and see them do it and be part of it with them. And it's just really enjoyable. We have to encourage them to go down that path, because if we don't encourage them, what's going to encourage them? A screen, most likely.
And honestly, like being out here in Washington, it's the main reason I moved out here. To be honest with you, it's gorgeous out here.
I keep hearing that because my solar company has an office in Washington. They have an office in Oregon. And, I'm going to have to end up making a company trip out there or something, make them fly me out. But yeah, so
And it
they
just
keep
so
telling me how beautiful it is out there. I've not seen it personally.
just so happens that when you fly out, there might be a reptile show or something. I don't know.
Right? Exactly.
Or we just know a few people that you could visit while you were out here, maybe.
For sure.
I don't know.
For sure. That
Reptile
would be
tour.
super dope.
I need some
yeah.
solar here, so might have to hit you up. So.
Facts. I'm I've on top of working for a solar company, I've had my own electrical contracting company since 2012. So I do all kinds of stuff. But yeah, it's definitely a great industry to be in as well, because one thing people aren't going to do without is electricity. You take that away from them, and then they start wanting it back real quick. So.
And then but also look at what we're doing here. We're running thermostats. We're using all these different types of things. We have to make sure, I often tell people, I'm like, you got to, because people are like, oh, I have a rack and I have this, and then I got a thermostat. And I'm like, yeah, but you need to check and make sure that your outlets are going to be able to handle it, because just because you plug it into the
just
thermostat,
because you plug it in,
like you need to know, and like I have my brothers. He does one of my brothers does AC and refrigeration repair and electrical and all
Nice.
that shit. So I learned quite a bit from him. And then one of my best friends he's into plumbing, and I used to help him install like boilers and heaters and shit like that. So I just remember a lot of this stuff. Like you need to make sure you check everything, because
facts.
you don't
Because a
wanna
lot of
get
people
out
don't
on fire.
understand. And you could, it's same as a space heater. Like we're running equipment, we're running stuff. Space heaters are the number one cause of home fires in all of the U.S. Period, because they just plug up a 20 amp space heater on a whatever circuit. Whether your house is still run on knob and tube, and just let it run. Just let it eat. You got to be very conscious of what you're doing with electricity and how much load you need for what you're doing. And being an electrician is a huge benefit, for us, because somebody was talking earlier about installing a Generac. It's great. Like I can buy one and install it, for cost. Like somebody else is going to charge you $22,000 to put in a generator, which is outrageous what prices are right now. And just upgrading services, but things like generators, solar, I mean, the solar is great. It's a great option because it offsets. You can also offset your electric bill with it, and therefore pay it off. You know what I mean? Itself. So, and I don't think it's going anywhere, because there are tax credits for it, and I think industry as a whole electrically is going to move that way to help take a little strain off the grid and strain off, some of the other methods of electricity generation that, take a little more maintenance. So
Whatever it takes. I need my juice. That's all.
we'll get you hooked up for sure.
Were you watching Craig's live earlier today, Marcus?
I popped in right there, perfect timing, and caught them when they started out.
He was on part 1.
Yeah. Oh, really? I missed that part. Darn it.
But,
I was in and out the whole
Yeah,
time. He'll be
he's-
live again tomorrow.
Yeah,
Day 2.
he's doing amazing things and getting all the bugs worked out, he said, so that way he's prepped and ready. So, but yeah, kudos to him and everything he's doing for the community and helping everybody else out. Same for you guys, man. I can't dote on you guys enough. DJ as well. DJ Royal Caribbean was the first person who ever came up to me and talked to me like as far as noticing who we were. And because I had on a t-shirt, and he was like, man, he was like, first person ever come up to me and be like, I really appreciate you, dude. Like, I was like, what are you talking about? And he was like, oh, you'd be like spam liking. I'm like, yeah, that's me. I'm the guy spamming everybody's stuff. But, he came up to us at the show and talked to us, and, it was cool. So, and then the same show, we met Keys and Craig, and got to meet Courtney. Steven wasn't there. I think somebody else was talking about that earlier too. That was the show. Steven was on his Red Line road trip, which was cool because we were getting sneak peeks in the Patreon for all of that. Like, we got sneak peeks for the whole Red Line road trip, him and Shane, and super cool. Super cool couple too. Shout out to them, because Steven and Courtney are two of those people that'll also go out of their way to help somebody out and build you up, and so both really salt of the earth, good people.
That's the thing. It's really important, especially in this community, because it can be tough, But when there's recognition and reciprocation, it's it really means a lot to everybody. When someone says, "Hey, I saw, thanks a lot for this," or if they just say, "Hey, are you," so just, and you start just little conversation. All that stuff goes a long way.
Yeah, it does, to making somebody feel comfortable, making somebody feel like, you're, appreciated for your part of doing nothing other than liking their stuff. But, it's still like everybody without somebody liking their stuff, nobody has a show, right? Like that's the way it sums up. Like, if nobody subscribed and nobody likes it every time you put something on, then nobody has anything. So I just feel like, it doesn't take, I know everybody's busy, right? Like, especially kids, snakes, rats, jobs, like, it's endless. And social media can also seem like a job, like a chore, if you let it. But, it doesn't take that much time out of somebody's day if you're already flipping through something anyways, and somebody just popped up in your feed, right? Why don't you click on their profile and like 20 of their pictures real quick, instead of just scrolling through the feed and liking one? Okay, well, this person came up, and it doesn't matter who it is. I do that for everybody, anybody that pops up on my feed, anybody that I follow back, because it's taking that little extra step to say, hey, thank you. I know this content took your time to put out, even if it's just, an Instagram reel. It took their time and their effort to put it out there. So, you pop up on mine, I'll slam 20 likes real quick, so.
Also, you never know, because you'll be like, oh, I don't know this person. Let me check. And you check out their stuff, and you're like, oh my God, look at all this stuff. Like,
I've done that
they're quiet.
at least 100 times. I've done that 100 times, like, and been like, just slam, and then, oh wow, man, this dude's really got some heat.
And you never, like, they're not vocal about stuff. They don't even produce a whole bunch, but all of a sudden they have this amazing collection.
There's a lot of people that are working off camera, that are working behind the scenes, that don't take everything that they make, the best thing they make, and pop it on Instagram. There's a lot of people who don't even really use the socials that much. There's people that still just vend shows, and big names, big people with good stuff, but they just don't take that and put everything out in the social media stratosphere.
Also, when you go through liking things on Instagram or wherever, it also might be something that somebody really needs to see that day too.
Yeah.
You might just brighten someone's day. It might have taken them from being like, oh, this social media stuff is getting overwhelming, and you liking all their stuff that moment gives them the hope to keep going too.
Yeah, I hope so for sure. I get a lot of thank yous in the messages, and I thank everybody back, because I thank them for their time for putting out the content as much as me liking the content. So, and that's one of the things, it's can feel like a chore, like you said, at times, to keep up with social media, to post consistently, to post every day of the week or 3 times a week or whatever you set your schedule at. and we all know that's added on top of everything that everybody else already has to do. So, but I think it's also a good avenue. It's a great outlet. It's a great way to show the community you want to be a part of the community, that you want to support other people, that, so, and I think a lot of the times it's easy to grow your social medias to a certain point and then say, okay, now I'm hands off. You know what I mean? Like, the account will take it from here, because it is what it is. But that's not really giving back to the community who got you to that point in the first place, is it?
No. And without the community, this would be very boring.
It would be very boring to just
The
braid
community is
snakes in
what
a
makes
dark
it so
room by
great.
yourself.
Especially the chat.
Yeah.
If there's no community, the chat would be boring.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Chat
lately
would be
the
very-
chats have been wild.
Yes,
You know,
chat's been
2025 is the year of chatting.
It
Oh my
is.
goodness.
It's the year of the snake. It might as well be the year of chatting.
Let's do it.
And I'll just
You get
chat
them
it
in
up
there,
together.
they'll act like heathens.
Yeah.
Especially if you let Dylan in there, right, Angel?
Just
Yeah,
don't
absolutely.
put Dylan stuff on the screen, and it'll be all right.
That's
No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
So it's fun just to click it because
No, you
gotta
gotta
read what's it.
Well, you need like a shit stirrer every now and then. It's all right. Just one. He's more than enough.
Man, we've been down here dealing with y'all's normal type weather, and y'all been up there not dealing with it. Like we got hammered down here with snow and ice, and we've had snow on the ground for 2 weeks straight, something like that.
Wow.
So,
No, I don't want to say it out loud, but I'm going to. We've really lucked out. It's been weird. It's felt like spring until I'd say today. Wouldn't you, Angel? Where it's really
today
cold.
is cold. Yeah, today.
All of a sudden, it is
Yeah, that
cold
vortex.
outside
The
today.
sun is out bright. It's like super
Yes.
bright outside, and it's freezing.
yeah.
So, like I'm
It
sitting in
is.
the kitchen by the window like a cat in the sun. Like,
Take a little sun bath.
yeah, it felt
I went
good.
out.
I was sitting there with my coffee this morning. I was like, this is nice. I'm just gonna sit here for a minute on my phone.
It was a very different world and reality culling rats today, though. I was like, wow, this is the first time the sun is like shining, but the rats are staying refrigerated this whole time while I get them ready. I don't have to be like, quick, get them in the bags, get them in the bags. It's like, this is so
Right.
weird. It's like 32 degrees. We're in a refrigerator.
Yeah.
Do y'all
today
do a
was
lot of
the
frozen
first-
thawing?
Typically we do. Right now we've been in like a bit of a lull, I guess. Since everything started eating so much more, it was like a perfect storm. Everything started eating more, and our production lowered while we were up like redoing colonies. So we don't like, our freezer's pretty empty for the most part, but usually our freezer is full. Not right now.
Yeah, we've had an empty freezer for quite a while.
We're also making the transition over to like half of our rat room is African soft furred rats now. So that has been a big downturn because we don't have that production of rats as we're waiting for our ASFs to get ripping. So
Yeah,
You know,
that's
We're getting there.
same point we're kind of at. Is like more information that we absorbed that we hadn't thought about was swapping out our colonies after a predetermined amount of time, and all of ours are getting to that 1 year age now, and we noticed drop in production, and and then was in one the other day and heard I think it was the Breeding for the Future episode, and had heard the guys in KG and them talking about swapping out at 6 months, and was like, well, that's the plan. So we're going to start phasing out and phasing back in, so that way we have more productive colonies and not feeding off everything we're producing a week or two after we're producing it.
yeah, that's one thing we want to do better at over here is keeping track of when the colonies start, because it's so easy to have your colony going and then throw in another female, and then you have these weird like different start dates. How do you guys keep track? What do you do? Keep track of it all.
Yeah, that's what I was doing previously myself, but I from switching going this part forward, it's going to be drop all the females same time and pull all the females same time, so that way there's not a question of, okay, did I put this one in here and then this one later, or was it the other way around?
We keep track with painter's tape, like on the wood portion or the metal portion of the rack. Angel, what do you do? Marcus, what do you do?
Yep.
Is that what you do? Okay.
Yeah, no, I use it to keep track of stuff. I have like a wacky staggered thing that I do, but like sometimes what I end up doing too is I keep some of the older females before they're ready to go. I'll keep them, and I just call them my cows, and I just keep throwing extra pups in there with them, and they'll just keep taking care of them up until a certain point, and then obviously then I'll cull them. But some of those older females, I just move them out and just have them as like just milk, because sometimes you have these younger females and they'll have like a big litter, or you can tell like they're a little overwhelmed even with another female in there, or they're arguing with each other and the babies are not getting taken care of. So I just pull them all out and I stick them with these moms over here, and the older moms are ready, they're already experienced, so I'm not worried about it. I just check them in there and they raise them up with no problem, and then just kind of like stagger, and then I try to keep whatever's in the tub, they're the same age, everybody's the same age as you go along. And if they're producing well, I'll just keep them in there, because I've had some older females and I'm like, I should probably cull you, but they're still popping out 12, 15s. They're just putting out big litters, and it's like, all right, I'll try it again, and then once I start seeing a decline, then I'll move them out. But I don't have like a set date, like, okay, you get 8 months or a year or whatever, just kind of watch them.
Nice.
Because if you're producing, I'm not getting rid of it. Like, she's
Yeah, that's true. That's hard to get
your
rid of
time's
a
up. Too
producer.
bad. Like, no way. Like, she's doing good. I'm gonna keep it going.
Yeah, the problem becomes when you start to become lax, or your time is spent elsewhere, and now you're not paying as much attention.
Yeah.
And then pretty soon you get caught, way underproducing.
Yeah.
Just recently, I was in there yesterday, and I found a whole litter was just like ripped apart. Like, I don't know who did it. It's 2 females and a male in there, and there was like a whole litter of just like just parts of babies everywhere. And I'm like, okay, I don't know what happened in here, guys, but let's clean this up. I didn't call anybody. I think I pulled the male. I think the male he might be a little aggressive, so I pulled him.
No more chances for him.
Not really.
He doesn't get another shot.
Yeah, I don't know. I think he was really aggressive, because those females, they had produced already a bunch of nice litters, so I don't know what happened. But
we see that a lot with our ASFs, and it's weird lately. It's not the entire litter that gets unalived. It's maybe like 3 or 4. They were probably just annoying the moms. And they
Who
just
knows?
got irritated.
We had it just happen with one of our newest colonies that that just started producing. Got really excited. I looked at them. I shouldn't have looked at them, I guess. They're all gone now.
Yeah, never look at them too early.
Apparently. They were brand new. It's like, oh, look at babies, Kurt. Get over here. Look. They were both looked at them. And then the next day I walked in, I was like, that's weird. There's no babies.
no more babies.
Womp, womp, womp. I looked at them. Hello.
Hi. How are you all?
We're good. How are you doing?
I'm glad now that I got mine off to homecoming, so now I'm gonna cook dinner and get ready, get everybody else settled.
Got a lot going on over there, so now you can relax for a millisecond.
Right. I have a 5-year-old. We have a 5-year-old that hasn't had a nap today, so bedtime's coming fairly soon.
Oh, we get that life. We have only one child. We have a 5-year-old that has never napped.
Nice.
Yeah,
That's great.
well, we have 7 between us, but we have 4 here right now. So
Yeah.
The fun never
So
ends.
You sleep when you can.
occasionally,
Just one eye open.
right
guys
at
will
work in my
full
desk on
show.
my lunch break.
Yeah.
You never really sleep because your spidey senses are always going.
100%.
They're always on.
Mm-hmm. It's nice to meet you, Tiffany, in
You too.
real life, kind of. Here.
I just wanted to say hi. I'm going to get back to cooking dinner, but since I got
Okay.
home, I just wanted to say hello.
Nice to
We're
meet
glad that you did.
Yep. Nice to meet you.
Thanks for sharing Marcus with us for a while this afternoon.
You can keep him. I'm just kidding.
We'll let you have
Actually,
him back.
I have a Marcus of my own. That's my son's name.
It's
Nice,
true.
nice.
Sure.
He's a really cool kid, too. Just like you're a really cool dude, Marcus.
I'll try.
It's
I'll
just the
try.
name Marcus.
I don't know. I don't know about cool. Maybe weird, but
Oh,
You know.
weird is cool. Cool is
That's all
weird.
right.
It's all.
I've never met a bad Marcus.
Oh, it's true.
I don't know. That's
It's
a
true.
solid name. My wife is like, "What do you want to name him?" Like Marcus. She's like, "Why?" I'm like, "Just cause.
because
Just do it.
It's
Just
like,
cause.
I
It's a good
mean,
name.
how
Just trust
Gladiator can. I mean, if you've seen that, like
it.
everybody gotta love Marcus, right? Like
The name. It means it means a lot. So
it does. It does, and you got to be resilient in the world we live in, right?
Mm-hmm.
also, there's not a lot of Marcuses really. So like,
true.
No.
in his school, I think there's only one other. Maybe. I don't think he's even in school anymore. So I think he's the only one now.
Yeah, yeah.
Marcus,
A little
thank you
more
for hanging out
individual.
with us It's true. Thanks for hanging out with us this afternoon. Are you going to are you going to catch Sophisticated Ignorance tonight?
Oh yeah. I never let Wiz down.
Yep. I've
Yeah,
seen Angel hopping in lately.
Yeah,
I
we
I
are.
hope I say hi.
We definitely big shout out to Keys and Wiz and the whole Whiskey Bomb family. So, they're amazing people. They help everybody out. If all you got to do is ask, you got a question, they'd be more than willing to jump in there and help you out. So good people. Great Patreons on their end too. So Yellow Belly everything, DG Dynasty all the way. If you want to get in on their groups, get in on their groups because all the people that are good people should be in the circle.
Look, you started it and you ended it with the circle.
There we go.
Marcus is
That's how we do it.
hired. We're hiring him. You're hired, Marcus.
Thank you guys very much for having me.
Absolutely.
coming
Anytime. We'll have you back too, for sure.
Absolutely.
Thank you for those who hung out with us. Don't forget to check out Show Me Your Rack tomorrow morning. We're moving it up an hour earlier. So 9 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, noon, I think, Eastern Standard Time.
Yep.
And we'll have Pip Stalkers on. So you get to watch Pip Stalkers show off their rack. It'll be great. And
they
that's
got
it.
fired.
And next week we're not here. We're not doing.
No,
this
that's
next
true.
week. We're going to be at the show.
Thanks,
We're going to
Angel.
be at the Pac Northwest next week. I don't know. Do you want to do? I don't know. We'll talk about it.
We can try and do something live.
I guess
We were talking about it earlier.
we could try.
We
We
were.
could talk about
Craig's
it.
cause an inspiration.
He is.
Yeah. I mean,
Craig
even
is
if we did
causing
like a little short thing, like
He's good at that.
little half
He
hour
is.
or
He's
something,
very good at that.
you know.
Yeah, we could. And
right
we
next to
could
each
try and
other.
do it around. We could try to do it around this time.
Yeah.
But just to let everybody know, we'll have to eat food before that, or else we will be loopy as
Yeah.
all get out.
Nikki
And
gets
coffee.
hangry.
I do.
Yeah.
Throw me a
We're
Snickers.
a hell of a group by the end of the show. We are a hell of a group. By the end of the show,
We are.
you know.
Collective hot
Nice and
mess.
loopy. Nice and loopy.
We are. Wouldn't have it any other way.
It's fun.
Thank you again, Marcus, for hanging out, and we'll see you guys all hopefully next weekend for a little bit.
All right.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Next time.
Later.
The ups and downs, we stay strong in your circle, that's where we belong. Lifting each other all day long, in this family we can't go wrong.